Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure. All Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X. My name there is @Pless. Just want to remind everyone, Bookmap is encouraging everyone to join Bookmap Discord. You do need a Bookmap subscription to fully participate in chat and watch all the streams in Bookmap Discord. There is a free subscription available if you have not already subscribed to Bookmap. So please join me in Bookmap Discord. Again, you will need to subscribe to Bookmap, verify your account, and then you can fully participate in Bookmap Discord and all the benefits that I'll go through during my presentation. Here are the key tenets to my approach of trading. This is the basis of my approach of trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. Certainly in the large cap tech stocks like the Magnificent Seven stocks, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and the ES futures contract is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And just like the S&P 500, when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. Here's the focus of my presentation today. Options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned at the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, those setups can be taken with futures contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset and the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Dan P. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hello, Suresh. Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here as well. Here's my agenda for today, Monday, December 16th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data and events for today as well as the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. When I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with news items, economic data, and events for the week. There are a couple of key events, actually several. So let's get started. There was some PMI data out this morning. It was the S&P Global PMI data, which really generally does not have much of an impact on the market. And what I'm looking at is the events calendar. This is the Spotgamma homepage, dashboard homepage, looking at the events calendar. So PMI data out today, not much of a market mover. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, retail sales. And then on Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, building permits. And of course, the big event for the week is the FOMC meeting announcement at 2 p.m., press conference at 2:30 p.m. Note the announcement will be in the middle of my session on Wednesday. I will stop whatever I'm talking about at that point and we'll watch the market. And we'll watch for the announcement, and that is, we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Why they expected to be a quarter point rate cut. All right, so that is Wednesday. Thursday, GDP data comes out 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Friday, PCE data, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then it's the big December monthly options expiration, very heavily call-dominated expiration, and looking for some potential release of volatility, more movement, maybe some consolidation or pullback after this call-dominated options expiration. More about that on Wednesday. All right, let's take a look now at looking ahead to the FOMC announcement and meeting on Wednesday. This is the Fed Watch tool. Current target rate 450 to 475 basis points. And note there's a 99% chance of a quarter point rate cut, 25 basis points to 425 to 450. All right, so again, on Wednesday, more about the options expiration on Thursday. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the SP 500. And note that I have shifted over to the March contract. That's the H5. Note I'm also using Bookmap data now. I'm very pleased with it. Really like Bookmap data. It loads very fast in the morning. So far, no problems. So really liking Bookmap data now. And just for those of you who may not be aware how to roll over in Bookmap, let me go over that very quickly. First of all, you would subscribe to the new contract. So let's say it is close to the March expiration. So I would pick, here, let's go to ES. I would go to ES-M5. I'm not going to do that now, but I would pick ES-M5, subscribe to that instrument. And then once that chart loads, you can go to chart settings, inherit chart settings, and then pick the previous contract. So this is exactly what I did for the new March H contract. I still had the Z contract, the December contract, in Bookmap and inherited chart settings from that. I also had to update my price lines chart to point to the ES H5. So that just took a few minutes to roll over in Bookmap to the new contract. All right, so again, now I'm on March contract. And I'll talk about this reversal right around 10:20 in just a few minutes. Oops, wrong. We'll take a look at the trace delta pressure to see what was helping to support the market there. So after that reversal higher, there was a lot of positive gamma up right around 607 that kind of constrained the market, and now S&P 500 is grinding higher in a very positive gamma environment. All right, so very narrow range today, and the range is pretty much between SPY 605, that's the absolute gamma strike, and SPY 608. All right, note also the index relationships that I posted in Bookmap have expanded quite a bit with the new contract. So right now, ES minus SPX, it looks like it is closer to 79 now. I was using 78 this morning, so I'm showing this SPX 6100 call wall at ES 6178. And on Friday, the offset with the December contract in SPX was right around 5 or 6 points. So now with the new H contract, it has expanded out to 78 to 79 points. All right, before I talk more about this chart, let's take a look at the underlying index, SPX, and take a look at a higher time frame. This is SPX, one-day chart. For 1 year worth of data, the rally continues. A little bit of consolidation now. So that is a one-day, 1 year chart. Let's take a look now at a 30-day, 1 hour chart. Let me point out a couple of key events on this chart. First of all, the post-election rally, pull back to 58.50, and then a very steady uptrend up to the 6100 call wall that acted as resistance. And then there's been some consolidation after that. And now SPX is heading back up toward that call wall at 6100. And that has remained the call wall for quite some time. Let's zoom in on this chart now, so we can get a closer look at the levels in play. So first of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from Friday. Note SPX is trading up above the upper daily expected move today. All right, let's take a look now at the Spotgamma levels on this chart. They're very concentrated in a very narrow range. So first of all, I'm going to start with the lowest to highest. 6,000 is the absolute gamma strike. Whoops. All right, 6,000 is the absolute gamma strike. That's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. Excuse me. Next above that is the put wall, 6040. That's a strike with large net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. Just above that is the volatility trigger at 6045. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. In a positive gamma environment like SPX is trading now, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility, leading to grind higher or mean reverting price action. Certainly getting a grind higher in a positive gamma environment today. And then finally, the next target up above is the 6100 call wall. And that certainly seems to be where price is heading. If it can make it through the positive gamma that's in play today, we'll take a look at that in just a minute. All right, shifts and levels for SPX. The put wall did shift slightly higher from Friday. All over the levels remain the same. And for SPY, the volatility trigger shifted 1 point lower. All right, so minor shifts and levels for the SP 500. Let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. Then we'll get back to Bookmap. SPX 1 minute chart. Here's the upper daily expected move. You can see that it acted as resistance for a while, now support, as SPX starts to move higher, or continues to move higher. All right, back to Bookmap. So again, right now, SPX is broken out of this. Thought I had my tool here. SPX is broken out of this consolidation. 607 acting as resistance. Now support. And we'll take a look at setups in just a few minutes. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Let's move on to NASDAQ. Much more bullish day in NASDAQ here today. A lot of levels in play. So let's try and isolate some of these levels by taking a look at the underlying index charts. First of all, I'm going to go to QQQ. This is a 1 minute chart. Let's zoom in just a little bit here. Actually, no, I want to see all these levels right now. We'll zoom in just a second. Let me point out some key levels. First of all, the volatility trigger is at 528. That level did shift higher from Friday. Put wall down below at 465. That level did shift lower. It seems to oscillate from day to day between 465 and around, it was 505 on Friday. So it seems to oscillate from day to day, back and forth between those two levels. So put wall down at 465, not in play. Volatility trigger did shift higher. Call wall up at 535. That did shift higher. And QQQ trading well above its call wall. And then the absolute gamma strike is at 530. And this is the last gamma level on the board, that 535.98 combo 4 level. So again, that's the highest gamma level on the board, and QQQ is trading higher than all those levels, and most notable, well above its call wall, in a very steady grind higher. Let's take a look at NDX, then we'll get back to Bookmap. NDX, also very steady mechanical uptrend that began on Friday. NQ also, NDX also trading above its call wall at 22,000. All right, back to Bookmap. Steady mechanical uptrend. One nice pullback. That was a good entry point for long this morning. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Note in the subchart here, all lines are rising. Dark blue line, cumulative volume delta rising. Yellow line, stop orders, buy stop orders, helping to fuel that move higher. And then the light blue line is showing iceberg orders. also moving higher. All three lines moving in the same direction, in this case higher. That's very bullish, a little bit unusual, but again, very bullish. And we'll take a look at setups in just a few minutes. So again, both NDX and QQQ trading above their call walls into new territory. All right, so that's NASDAQ, very nice uptrend. And again, shifts in levels for QQQ. I mentioned the volatility trigger, call wall, and absolute gamma strike all shifted higher. So that's a bullish hat trick for QQQ. And certainly that is playing out today. And then for NDX, the absolute gamma strike shifted up to 22,000. So bullish hat trick for QQQ, definitely playing out today. All right, let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a look at Gamma. I'm going to start with Gamma notional at the beginning of the day. This is market maker's position on the Gamma curve. Again, at the beginning of the day. This is for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. And note for both the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, these numbers are positive. So again, positive gamma. This gamma for an index, this indicates traders are short calls, market makers are long calls. Hence the positive gamma, they have to trade against price, there's their delta exposure. And note the Russell 2000 in negative gamma environment. And not much of a change to Russell 2000, but the IWM gamma notional did shift lower. All right, so that's gamma at the beginning of the day. Let's take a look now at gamma, current look at gamma. So this is the trace gamma heat map. If anybody has any questions about this, please let me know. What the blue is showing is very strong positive gamma. This is the 6,055 strike that I pointed out in the morning. That's the JP Morgan short call. And then now, looks like gamma is building at the 6,090 level. So that's the current view of gamma. And let me shift over to open interest. 6,100, there's the 6090. So you can see that's market maker's position, long calls. Traders are selling calls, market makers are buying the calls. So that's the market maker position. And this is terms of gamma exposure. In terms of gamma exposure, due to the proximity to that strike. And that's also a 99 percentile strike, 99 percentile plus. Could act as a magnet toward the end of the day. Let's step back real quick and take a look at how gamma has progressed during the day. Let's go back toward just after the open, 9:40 a.m. Eastern Time. At that time, the 60.55 strike was the largest strike on the board. Looked like that could be a potential target, but as time progressed, that level acted as support. And SPX continued to grind through the positive gamma above. So now right in the middle of this very bright blue zone, positive gamma. All right, so based on this, my thesis for the day was looking for lower volatility and also bullish, especially for the NASDAQ based on the bullish hat trick for QQQ. All right, so let's move on now to execution. Let's take a look at some setups. First of all, starting with the S&P 500, we'll take a look at what traders have been doing in the options market, again in the S&P 500. This is the hero signal. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. And what it is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity. In this case for the index, combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. The white line is price, and I have shifted over to puts and calls. There is some little bit of a bug shifting back and forth from puts to calls. It does kind of reset the screen. So I'm just going to leave it on puts and calls. So the orange line is showing calls. A rising orange line indicates traders are buying calls. And when traders buy calls in the index, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they will buy ES futures to hedge their delta exposure. So call buyers driving price. You can tell by the notional value, the positive notional value of $4 billion. They're also buying puts. That's shown by the negative notional value there, but the call buyers have really been driving price. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this chart. Open up full screen. And then there's another signal that we can take a look at for the S&P 500, and that is the S&P equities. So this again is showing price for SPX with the white line, and calls for S&P 500 stocks, all 500 stocks in the S&P 500, and the blue line is puts. So in the case of the S&P equities, traders are buying calls and selling puts, shown by the positive notion of value for the orange line and the call line. So let's take a look at what I want to focus on for setup review is this pullback right here. And you can see on the equity signal, that's when traders start aggressively buying calls, right around 10:20. And the S&P 500 started to move higher. Back to the index signal. I thought this, as usual, the index signal was a little bit more timely, a little bit easier to read in the morning. But you could see the call buyers were definitely driving price, moving higher. They take the foot off the gas, price moves lower. At this point, blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. Traders were selling calls and buying puts. Price moves lower. They start buying calls again, selling puts. Price moves higher. Long period of consolidation. Again, in that positive gamma environment. Then they started buying calls again, and now price is broken higher. Let's take a look at one other thing. What this chart is showing is delta pressure. That is red selling pressure above, blue buying support below. Let's go back to about 10:20. We'll go to 10:30. Just after the reversal, you can see that SPX moved down to this blue buying support zone, positive gamma, blue buying support, price reversed higher as traders started buying calls in both the S&P 500 equities and the S&P 500 index components. So you could read that in both the hero signal and in the trace delta pressure, as this is just like a heat map for Bookmap. SPX moved down into that blue buying support zone. All right, now let's go to Bookmap. Let's take a look at that long setup. Let's go back to ES. Zoom in. All right, so let's take a look at the clues in Bookmap. All right, so first of all, you can see the volume dots, magenta volume dots, more sellers than buyers on the way down. Also a stop run that's shown by the yellow line, the falling yellow line on the subchart. That's over, stop run is over. Aggressive buyers starting to come in, shown by the green volume dots. There were some icebergs buying, fading that move down as well, shown by the rising light blue line on the subchart. So as traders started buying calls, again in both the index and S&P 500 equities, cumulative volume delta starts to rise. Buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher. Price moves higher, moves up into the positive gamma, a little bit of a selling pressure we'll see in just a minute. And price does a long consolidation. Also note I do have the market pulse price change indicator shown on the chart here. Note the extreme as all these indicators on the subchart move lower. Price change extreme, and then price reverses higher, and that positive gamma blue support zone. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Positive gamma trading at a pretty narrow range, but that was the long setup this morning. Move on to NASDAQ. Much wider range. Note that NASDAQ broke above the upper daily expected move. That's that light blue line just at the cash open. And again, continues to grind higher. We'll see what options traders are doing. Go back to Hero. All right, for the NASDAQ, there are two signals that we can take a look at. Again, I'm sticking with the separated puts and calls signal. Let's go with the NASDAQ signal. So when you separate out puts and calls, you can pretty clearly see that traders have been buying calls all day. It looks like now they have finally taken the foot off the gas. NASDAQ consolidating. Initially, they were selling puts. Right around 10, they started buying puts. Negative notional value, but the call buyers are dominating and driving price today. All right, so that is the NASDAQ combination of NDX and QQQ options trades. Price is shown for NDX. Let's go to the MAG 7 signal. And you can see when price turned around just right after 10:20, that deep pullback. That's when traders started buying calls the MAG 7 stocks. So this chart is showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for the Magnificent 7 stocks. And the white line is price for QQQ. So starting, looks like right around 120, the call buyers have stopped. They've left the room so far, taking the foot off the gas. So we know this reversal was right around 10:20. That's shown both on the MAG 7 chart. A little bit of a pullback on the NASDAQ chart, but traders resume buying calls right around 10:20. Back to Bookmap. From the open, cumulative volume delta was rising. A lot of aggressive buyers. There's this deeper pullback, good entry point for long as traders continue to buy QQQ and NDX calls and started buying MAG 7 stock calls. Let's zoom in now. So again, now NASDAQ is consolidating as the call buyers have taken their foot off the gas. Again, very steady uptrend in the lines in the subchart. Cumulative volume delta, dark blue. Buy stop orders, yellow, and large traders buying with iceberg orders. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. Anybody have any questions about the indexes? S&P 500 or NASDAQ? All right, let's take a look at some stocks. All right, for Apple, Apple is the call wall. It did act as resistance earlier today. Absorption at that level. That was a clear price target this morning, shown by the heat map and Bookmap. That's a history of the limit orders in the order book. Very large number of sell orders. Absorption, and then it looks like those orders were consumed right around 11:45 as Apple continued to grind higher. A little bit of consolidation at that level now has moved up to 251. All right, so that's Apple. Let's take a look and see what options traders have been doing. Let's go to Apple. Here's the 250 call wall, key gamma strike. Acted as resistance just after the open as traders were aggressively buying calls. The flow alert. And Suresh asked, can you please show once again how to change the futures contract on Bookmap? Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. Let me go through these stocks and then we'll do that again. All right, so call buyers coming in right at the open, quickly take their foot off the gas as price reaches the 250 call wall. Then they come in again right around 11:10, 11:15. Now they've taken the foot off the gas. All right, so that's Apple. Back to Bookmap. Call buyers again have taken the foot off the gas. Next stock I want to take a look at is Broadcom. Huge rally last week after reporting earnings. Just adjusting this trend line. Note that for Broadcom, 240 is the call wall. Let's see what options traders have been doing. Back to Hero. And note that Broadcom is one of the top 8 stocks in the NASDAQ 100. So it's along with the Mag 7 stocks. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. So in the morning, traders were aggressively buying calls, shown by the rising orange line, also selling puts. And they took the foot off the gas right around 10:10. Started selling calls. A few minutes later, they started buying puts. Price moved lower. Consolidated for a while, then starting around 12:20, they started buying calls again. Price started to move higher. So here's that initial move higher in the morning. Pretty much sliced right through the right through the 240 call wall. Then the call buyers took their foot off the gas, price moved lower. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. I was watching this. Remember, 240 is the call wall, now acting as support. Until finally price takes off as traders started buying calls again. And note, I have the market pulse price change indicator on this chart, and you can see how these dips down to the 240 call wall line up with these market pulse price change extremes. A lot of good 2 point scalps, 2 to 3 point scalps in Broadcom for longs before it finally takes off. And each time the market pulse price change indicator gives you a clue that that's a good point for an entry, in this case for a long. And then again, price finally starts to take off as traders resume buying calls. Let's go back to Hero. So there you go. Traders resume buying calls. Note the flow alerts that come in, signaling significant options activity. In this case, both turning points. So it looks like in this first flow alert, the hedging flow shifts from bearish to neutral. Then when it starts to shift to positive to bullish delta, another flow alert comes in, gets your attention. And now the traders have started to sell calls again. Back to Bookmap. Go back to real time. So nice 10-point move higher in call wall in Broadcom after this last test of the 240 level up to 250, and the high liquidity targets at both the 245 level and now the 250. So absorption at that level, those orders remain in place. Note all the aggressive buyers. A lot of green volume dots there. All right, next stock, Google. Kite Attack, welcome, glad you're here. Ask, please, how do you know JP Morgan is short call? I think that's pretty well known in the options market that JP Morgan has this fund that will that owns a portfolio of long stocks, and they hedge their portfolio by buying it out of the money put spread and selling it out of the money call to pay for that put spread. And it is, I think, just again well known that short call is at 6,055. Certainly Spotgamma has talked about it for quite a while. All right, Google. And let's take a look at Hero again, see what options traders have been doing. Go to Google. Call buyers, shown by the rising orange line. Put line is pretty flat. Call alert comes in just at the open. Traders buy calls. Market makers sell the calls. Have to buy stock to hedge the delta exposure. They've also taken their foot off the gas here. But the next target up above is the 200 call wall. That's Google. Back to Bookmap. So a couple of more points to go to the 200 call wall. You can see all the high liquidity at that level. High liquidity target, also call wall. And if traders start buying calls again, that could attract price. All right, next stock, MicroStrategy. And MicroStrategy in the news will be added to the NASDAQ 100. Forgot to check on that date. If anybody knows, please let me know. Looks like it is definitely breaking lower now. And Kite Attack, you're welcome. Ask, can we please have a quick look at Charm? Yeah, I'll definitely look at Charm. All right, so that's MicroStrategy. Maybe a little bit of sell the news after it has been announced that MicroStrategy will be included in the NASDAQ 100. Let's see what options traders have been doing today. Go to MicroStrategy. So they were buying calls starting around 10 o'clock. Now they've taken the foot off the gas. That fuel driving price is gone. MicroStrategy did breach the 430 call wall that acted as resistance earlier today. Broke above that level and now is trading back down below the 430 key gamma strike call wall. Let's go back to Bookmap. There's the 430 strike. Acted as resistance. Price broke above that level and now is trading lower. Note all the magenta volume dots that came in. Trend line break. Aggressive sellers. Call buyers have taken the foot off the gas. Nice short setup in MicroStrategy, looking like about a 15-point move lower so far. All right, let's wrap up a view of stocks with Tesla. And the bullishness in Tesla continues. $440 is the call wall. Key gamma strike. And Tesla's trading well above that level. Here's 440. Call wall, key gamma strike. Let's see what options traders have been doing today in Tesla. Then we'll get back to the S&P 500. So right around 10 a.m., traders started buying calls, also selling puts. Price moves higher. Right around 11:30, they take the foot off the gas, and now Tesla is still consolidating. Call buyers definitely driving price in Tesla today. Back to Bookmap. Call buyers hit the accelerator. Then really take the foot off the gas. 11:30 to 12 o'clock. Now Tesla consolidating. All right, back to the S&P 500. And Kite Attack wants to take a look at Charm. Sure, yeah, let's do that. Let's go to, first of all, delta pressure. Current view of delta pressure. Looks like SPX somewhat in a neutral zone in between the blue buying support below and the red selling pressure above. And let's open up, let's go to the gamma view and change that to charm pressure. So you can see SPX still right in the middle of that bright blue zone, positive gamma. Highest positive gamma at 60.90. Let's change this to charm pressure. Zoom in just a little bit. What we're looking for, an end of day target between an area like this. I'm going to change my pen tool color to yellow so we can see this a little bit clearly. So looking for an area like this, in between blue buying support below, red selling pressure above, as an end of day target. Note the contour lines, vortex lines, all pointing to that level. Hero is continuing to rise. And let's see where that is. That lines up with this 60.90. Right now, the highest positive gamma. Remember, gamma is greatest at expiration at the money. So as price approaching, as price approaches that level, that gamma is increasing. Expiration approaching this is most likely a lot of 0 DTE. All right, so based on the view right now, it looks like a potential end of day target for SPX could be 60.90. That is if traders resume buying calls in the S&P 500 equities and index products. All right, let's go to Bookmap. So a little bit longer term target up above. Let me change that color back. A little bit longer term target above 6100 call wall. All right, Suresh had asked about again how to change a futures contract on Bookmap. So first step is you subscribe to the new contract, whatever you want. So let's go back. Again, I'm using Bookmap data now. So this is what the steps that I followed. First of all, I subscribed to NQH5. That was the last futures subscription. So subscribe to that contract. I've already done that. So let's now go to NQ. Step one, just subscribe to the new contract. So at this point, I would have two NQ futures contracts, the Z contract and the H contract. So the Z4 and the H5. Then I would go to the H5 contract, right click, chart settings, inherit chart settings from, and at this point I had the NQ Z4 contract. So I just picked that. So I'm inheriting all the chart settings from that contract. Give that time to load. Then the last step, I go into my price line spreadsheet. Note I changed all the symbol here to NQH5. And then I had to update the index relationships. So last Friday, the NQ to NDX was right around 20 points. That offset today is 310. And also the NQ to QQQ relationship changed quite a bit as well. So I just update those index relationships. So really kind of a three-step process. First of all, subscribe to the new contract. Second, inherit the chart settings in the new contract from the old contract. And 4, update my Priceline spreadsheet. And that's how you roll over in in Bookmap. And for those of you who don't use Pricelines, you don't have that third step, but you would always have the first 2 steps. All right, let's see what options traders are doing. And if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know. I'll be glad to do that. Charm pressure still pointing to 60.90. Looks like SPX now has been bumping up above this into this red selling pressure. The hero line is flattened out. You can see the red selling pressure starting right around 6,085. Red selling pressure starting around 6,085, sorry about that, excuse me, and 6,090. Let's see what options traders are doing. First of all, the index. Call buyers still not doing anything in the index, as well as the equities. Check NASDAQ. Also maybe doing a little bit of call selling. But overall, though, the line is flat, starting right around 105. Check Mag 7. Also flat. All right, last call for questions. Stocks. Check some of our stocks again. Looks like in Broadcom, traders have resumed buying calls. Tesla. So the 2 big movers today, Tesla traders now looks like may have started selling calls. Let's take a look at one other thing real quick. I'll try and remember to talk more about. I may not have time to talk about this on Friday due to the FOMC, but it's worth taking a quick look at today. Let's go to. This is my watch list. Looks like I need to add Broadcom to this list, and so sort this by next gamma expiry. So what this is showing is the percentage of gamma that is expiring. Now, all this is for the 20th. You can see the dates here. All this is for the 20th, this Friday. Large amount of gamma expiring. Spotgamma considers anything over 30% to be significant. Note for all these stocks, I've ranked from highest next gamma expiry. So Coinbase, Microsoft, Tesla. Let's check Broadcom. We'll go to history. So this is interesting. Broadcom only 27%, Gamma expiring, and that is on, that's January 17th, so that's longer term. Check MicroStrategy. And 51% Gamma expiring on Friday. So potential call gamma unwind in all these stocks. And again, MicroStrategy should be at the top of this list. I'll need to add that to my watch list. All right, anyone? All right, ACO wants to take a look at NVIDIA, and then we can wrap it up. Let's go to NVIDIA. NVIDIA weakness continues. Looks like some call buyers finally coming in, starting around 1 o'clock, or actually right around 12:15. Let's check Bookmap, and also put sellers. So net for the day, they are buying calls and selling puts. Go to NVIDIA. So now NVIDIA trying to move higher as call buyers and put sellers come in. Momo wants to look at, is that a stock? UHH, do you mean UNH? All right, I need to wrap it up anyway. So we'll wrap it up here with NVIDIA. Call buyers, put sellers coming in, NVIDIA trying to move higher now. All right, everyone, remember Wednesday is FOMC, 2 p.m. I will stop whatever I'm doing at 2 p.m. We'll watch the announcement, watch price action in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. And should be a good trading day after 2 p.m. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. I will see you Wednesday for FOMC. Thanks. Bye.